Hey guys, good evening. It's Wednesday the 12th, and a little bit later in the day here. Wanted to touch base with you and say hello. I'm a little bit out of it, a little bit groggy. I apologize. Really tired tonight, but I'll share my thoughts with that. So I got home and took care of the dogs. I fed them. They're looking at me, and I can't wait to pass out. But figured, you know what? I'm gonna light the fire and I'm gonna fall asleep on the floor in front of the fireplace tonight. So just me, put on some music, got the Christmas tree on, the mantle's lit up, and the fireplace it is. But I did want to talk about a few little things, and I think one big thing today, if I could. So a couple little things. I had a laugh this morning. You guys have known I listened to a couple of sports talk radio shows, the Ben Maller show on Fox Sports News, and behind him comes um, the Clay Travis show. Um, and I had a laugh because it's amazing how our society has become so what's the word I'm looking for? So oblivious to little things. I think words are powerful. My friend Dr. Phil says that there. I guess we're not friends, I don't know him, but he says that a lot. Words are very powerful, and they do mean a lot. It's easy to say, hey, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. But yet, you hear stories about kids getting bullied all over the place. In fact, I saw a news story today that there's a 11-year-old boy in Delaware whose last name is Trump, and he was getting bullied at school so badly that they tried to homeschool him for a year, and now he's asking to take his mom's last name um, to at least be recognized at school because of that. So words definitely are powerful, but it's funny how we've grown accustomed to just accepting certain things. So this morning I got into work pretty early, and I was listening to one of the talk radio shows, and they tried to reach out to their, I guess, one say producer, and they were trying to get a hold of him, and he overslept. He wasn't in. But when they called him about it and asked him why he wasn't there, it was kind of loud on the air. It was more shtick than anything else, but it was something so subtle that I thought, but it's what people do. I've experienced this in my management career from employees. Uh, but his excuse for being late was that the alarm didn't go off. And how many times have people said that? And how many times have people used that uh, term when explaining their own situation? The alarm didn't go off. Well, I don't know every clock and every alarm that's out there, but to the best of my knowledge, every alarm goes off when it's set. And that's kind of my point about pointing the thumb. And it's these little things. The alarm didn't go off. Wasn't that he didn't set the alarm, or that he set it improperly? It was the alarm's fault. It didn't go off. That's why he was late for work. And it was just something so subtle. And that's my point. Unless you identify these things and call them out, this is what our society has become. We make these excuses, but it's never about our ownership or our fault. The alarm didn't go off. They did it. He did it. She did it. Kind of thing. So enough about that. Um, then there was something else that triggered me a little bit this morning. I was raised Catholic, and if you've heard me on my journey, I've talked about believing in God, but not really being a participant in organized religion. And I've come to find that a lot of organized religions, a lot of people that claim to be devout, um, just like anything else, it's not specific to religion. But you find a lot of hypocrites out there, and I'm not a big fan of hypocrisy. And it amazes me how we revere people in our society because we're supposed to some degree. And I don't subscribe to that theory. One of the things that I've always wondered about England, and I don't understand it, and I'm sure someone could explain it to me, is what is it the Queen does and the King does and the royal family? Were they just born into something, so therefore they're wealthy and they're the wealthiest? And I would think more people would, what's the word I'm looking for, would resent them than celebrate them. I mean, they're not, as far as I know, they didn't earn these titles, they didn't earn these things, but yet that's the uh, monarchy they live in. I guess monarchy is the right term. No, it's not. But But I guess I just don't understand that. So, we revere people, and I hate to say this, I'm going to offend a lot of people, but I try, and I even teach my kids to respect people on their own merit. It doesn't matter about age, doesn't matter about color or religion or anything else. And I know in our society we're supposed to, um, revere the older generation, old folks. But I found in my younger years in particular that a lot of older folks, quite frankly, really aren't very likable and kind of rude and ignorant. And but they get this pass, and I think it's when they get this pass, they almost do it even more. And to that point, one of my big beefs about it, I watch Dr. Phil a lot, is he makes sure almost every show it seems to say, under no circumstance should a man ever put his hands on a woman. And I don't dispute that. But I always wonder why he never says it in reverse. And one of the things I noticed about living and being involved in, I forget about race, but a lower socioeconomic environment, is that there are women that quite frankly can be as aggressive and combative as a man could. And if they know they're not going to be, that they have carte blanche, it's like not everybody, not all of them, but some women take that to their advantage. So I wish we would get to the point of saying nobody has the right to put their hands on anybody else, not always the man towards the woman. But anyway, I digress because I'm all over the place with this part of my point. My point is sort of about Catholic religion. And again, here you have these people that are priests, and how many of them committed atrocities to young people? Not all of them by any means, I'm not saying that. But yet we give this reverence, and some of these people just aren't really good people. But because they're in the church, we're supposed to. I don't get that. You have to earn respect in any facet. My daughter Grace goes to a Catholic school here in New York, and she's heard me say that argument. And the one day her response to me was, Jimbo, it's only like 2%. And there were two things that surprised me about that. One is, the time she said it, she was 15 or 16. So she didn't know that data. She got that data given to her by the folks at the school. And again, it's how you say it. If you say it, it's only 2%. If you just shrug your shoulders and go, it's no big deal. It's how you say things. Versus, my God, 2% of people are doing this. Has a whole different connotation. But it bothered me, and I tried to explain it to her. I said, Grace, do you understand that means that of every 100 priests, 2 out of 100 were guilty of this crime? I mean, think about any other crime in life. If out of 100 people, 2 people were arsonists or murderers or robbers, imagine what our society would be like. But her teachings at her school are that it's like, there's 98% that are really, really good. And I don't doubt that there are in every walk of life. But that's my point. There's good and bad in every walk of life. So, as again, I get back to roundabout my story here, I read about these 2 nuns out in Southern California that took to embezzling $500,000 to go fund their gambling trips and their casino runs. And I have to laugh because, God forbid somebody say anything negative or derogatory about them. But, they're human too. And there's good and there's bad with everybody. But I laugh because they put on a habit and they say that they're a nun and therefore they're supposed to be holier than thou, and yet reality is reality. So that was a story I saw today. So I apologize for taking on that long, convoluted trip around my mind, but and again, I'm just trying to be fair. I'm not trying to attack anybody in particular. It's just there's good and bad in everything, and respect needs to be earned. And that's one of my beefs with organized religion, is just the fact that it's quite hypocritical in a lot of situations. And then the last story, which I thought was very uplifting, was, and I'm going to ask you guys if you want to help me to look something up, because I'm just not going to be able to do it tonight. There was a woman that was traveling on an airline, and she had a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old with her. And clearly she had her hands full. But instead of people rolling their eyes or shaking their head or saying, God, I hope she doesn't sit next to me, what I understand of the story is that she was, the first thing is she was going down the aisle. Some woman said, look, give me the bags, I got them. So she grabbed her bags and helped her get her bags so she can even get situated. And then, I'm sorry, that's the second person. The first woman, she had one of her young sons in her arms falling asleep. The other one was getting a little antsy and getting a little agitated. And the woman saw her in line and said, look, you go ahead of me. Just go ahead of me. These are small gestures that, may be small to some, but mean the world to others. And so the first woman did that. The second woman carried her bags. And the third woman said, look, I'll take him for you. Just take care of him. And this woman sat there, and it's a picture on the video, or the picture, of this woman holding this little boy as he sleeps in her arms for the duration of the flight, she said. To the point, I believe she even carried him down to baggage claim. The woman's husband was there, so she passed the baby back to the woman and her husband and gave him a kiss and said Merry Christmas and went on her way. So here was 3 different people on one flight that did something which may seem small in scope, although holding a baby in your arms for the duration of a flight isn't really small. But it meant the world to this woman, and there was no chastising her or berating her because she had 2 little kids and how dare she travel with 2 little kids, But as she said, the old African proverb that it takes a village to raise a family, or to raise a child rather, came true, and it meant a lot to her. And then she mentioned something about a charity called, I believe it's called Kids, KIDD''S, Kids, and she wanted to pay it forward. And I believe Kids is actually, I shouldn't even say I have an understanding of what they do. I read it, but it's escaping me right now. But I remember when I read it, I said that's something I want to look into. So to you guys out there, if you're not doing anything, Google Kids, KIDDS, and then KIDS, and see what it's about. And I think this woman wanted to kind of recognize. That's what it was. I think the charity takes families that are either disadvantaged and sends them to Disney World, to Disneyland, and gives them the experience of doing that. And it's kind of a neat thing. And in fact, this woman was traveling home from there with her children when this trip took place, and these women reached out to her. So, we have so much negativity in our world. It's nice to share some uplifting stories, and that one caught my eye, so I want to share it with you guys. So, it's Wednesday night, halfway through the week, it's hump day. Hope you guys have a great week. I did get some stuff in the book done today, but not nearly at the progress I'd like to. I got called in about 3 o'clock in the morning because my night guy didn't make it back from his dad's funeral in the Dominican Republic, and he should be there tonight, so maybe an extra hour or 2 sleep. But anyway, again, prayers to Misha and to Jorge's dad and everybody else out there suffering. Hope you all have a great night. Love you. One more side note, I got to speak with a couple of friends of mine, Richard and Keith, tonight. Keith is retiring. I guess the 18th is his last day of work, and he's going on a cruise over the holidays. I guess the 31st is his last official day, but he'll be taking vacation thereafter. So kind of neat to have somebody be able to retire and look forward to that. So he's earned it 24 and a half years with his last company, and it was good to see him and talk to him. So, all right, guys, have a great night. Love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.